I'm 26 now and living in Pennsylvania. But when I was growing up in Montpelier, Vermont, my summers were spent hiking mountains, swimming in lakes, and exploring expansive forests. I know that my state had bears and rattlesnakes in its more secluded mountain regions, but I never imagined that there was anything more terrifying than those out there. When I was 19, my friend Emily and I went to Moss Glen Falls for a day of swimming and hiking, and it gave us a nice change of scenery from campus. The waterfall is located in Stowe, which is a remote town in Vermont that has a population of barely 4,000. Emily was from another state and had never really seen much of the area beyond our campus. So, I figured showing her some of Vermont's quaint locations was in order. The day was perfect. We had packed plenty of food, sunscreen, and towels. And since it was a weekday afternoon, there was nobody else at the falls except for an elderly couple who left not too long after we got there. We spread our towels out on a large rock by the falls and alternated between climbing up the waterfall edges to get to the swimming pools and relaxing in the late afternoon sun. It was peaceful, and it was the perfect break from a long day of homework and classes. As the day wore on, Emily wanted to explore some of the trails near the falls. I was familiar with a few of them, and I tried to keep her on those. What I didn't account for was that she would insist on exploring some of the more outlying trails, and that we would consequentially get lost. We spent nearly an hour walking in circles, our arms and legs getting covered in mosquito bites, and our bathing suits drying uncomfortably into our skin. We had the flashlight on our phones to give us a little bit of light once the sun set, but they didn't do much to illuminate the dense undergrowth shrouding both the sides of the trail. Finally, we came across a blackberry patch that we were pretty sure we had seen earlier. So, by logical default, we started heading down the path closest to the blueberries. Emily kept asking me if I heard twigs snapping near us, and I brushed it off. As a city girl being afraid of a deer or a rabbit, I didn't hear anything myself, so I figured she was being paranoid due to it being her first time lost in the woods. Then I heard it. The noise came from somewhere behind us, and it was too loud to be a small animal like a rabbit. I figured it was another person walking, or maybe a herd of deer passing through. Stowe had never been a very populous town, and the locals could argue that there's more deer than people in the area. I ignored the uneasy feeling building up in the pit of my stomach and kept walking, chalking it up to my friend's paranoia rubbing off on me. And I babbled senselessly about cute guys to keep Emily distracted. After another 10 minutes trailhead, there was a large boulder where there was a plaque on it dedicated to a young woman who had been murdered at the falls back in 1991. And right beyond that was my car. Relief evident on Emily's face, a weird noise came from the woods behind us. It sounded almost like a cat, but it was distorted and static, like it was coming from out of an old radio. My first instinct was that the cat was wounded or in danger. I've always been an animal lover, and if there was a hurt cat, I wasn't about to leave it to become some coyote snack. I turned around, ignoring Emily, begging for me to just get in the car, and peered back into the trail opening. I gave Emily the keys and told her to get the towels. Now that we know where we are, I promised I'd be back momentarily. If I didn't find the cat right away, I wasn't going to spend forever looking for it, but I couldn't just drive away either. With the loss of a second flashlight, the woods seemed a bit more eerie to me, and the darkness was nagging at my peripheral vision. I walked a little ways down the path and called out to the cat, hoping to locate it by its meow. But I didn't hear anything for several moments. I was about to give up when I heard a low but out-of-place laugh behind me. I spun around, my heart beating way too fast. But all I saw was a large buck. I remember muttering something about stupid sneaky deer and headed back to the trailhead. That's when the deer laughed again, and I froze. The harsh sound was completely unnatural for those of you who don't know. Deer make sounds like grunts and belts and snorts. They don't make anything like a laugh, they don't make any sort of laughing-like noises. And even if they did, it wouldn't have the same cadence as a human's laugh would. And as the steers did, the situation was weird and unnerving, and I kept hoping that someone would just pop their head out from around the corner and just tell me that they were pranking me, but it didn't happen. The deer took a few steps towards me, and then the odd cat sound came from it. I almost literally threw my hands up in a nope gesture and started walking away from it as quickly as I could. I was almost inside of the end of the trail when I felt something snag my hair. I swatted away thinking it was a branch or something since there was a lot of low-hanging trees around the trail, but the sensation returned instantly. I reached up to tug my hair free, but it wouldn't come loose. I turned to face the offending tree, and my heart thumped in shock. The deer, now on its hind legs, had my hair caught on one of its antlers. The snarls from a day of swimming and hiking were entangled around its antler, and I could feel its cold breath on my face. Not warm, not hot, but icy cold breath weathered around me. I let out a shrill scream, the most shrill scream I had ever made, and violently yanked my hair off its antlers. I sprinted for my car, screaming the whole way for Emily to start it. I heard the engine turn on when I neared the boulder, and she didn't hesitate to floor it as soon as I was in the car. The tears streaming down my face were enough motivation. She didn't question me until we were nearly 5 miles from Moss Glen. I told her about the weird noises and the deer getting in my face. I told her it startled me, and on top of the stress of being lost, that was enough for me to start panicking. She bought my explanation, agreeing that we were both stupid tired, and adding that my mind was probably playing tricks on me. I haven't returned to Stowe since then, even though I visited Vermont recently. I know there's probably some sort of rational explanation for what I saw and what I heard that night, but I haven't been able to find what it would be. What I never told Emily that night was that the buck had fangs, or how that there had been blood on its mouth. I never shared that the huge animal was able to sneak up on me noiselessly, and I didn't even bother telling her that it had the coldest breath I had ever felt. She was my friend, but that didn't mean she would believe a crazy story. Emily, if you're listening to this, I hope you know I didn't want to lie. I was panicked. And in my 19-year-old mind, I didn't want to get labeled as a crazy or a liar. Please forgive me. And please, never go to Moss Glen alone.